my mom tagged me in a video where a creator is talking about sharing about grief because it might help somebody else. So y'all have been with us through thick and thin, and I figured I would share about this too, not just the good stuff. Many of you have been with us from not only the beginning of fostering these guys, but also the beginning of our TikTok journey with finding Chicken Cooper out in the chicken coop, which was almost 2 years ago now. And since then, we've done a lot with rescue and fostering. I put on my rescue, foster, adopt shirt today. And although the goal of fostering is, oh my God, ma'am, that was a lot. Anyway, the goal is goodbye, and we know that the goal is goodbye, but having to say goodbye to a foster because they passed is inexplicably harder than saying goodbye, sir, than saying goodbye when they go to their forever family. Can y'all tell we have toddlers now and not just little babies anymore? Losing Boston, one of our Rappling babies, was my first foster loss in a long time. I actually don't think I've ever talked about this on here, but my very first foster kitten I ever had was a single kitten. I got him when he was 2 weeks old, and he passed in a freak accident when he was 4 weeks old, and I actually did not foster again for another 8 years. That grief of losing Timmy, that's actually why Finn's middle name is Timothy, was so heavy, and I feel like it was heavy because it was so unexpected, and it was so, tragic. And fostering neonates is a different bond. I remember talking to my parents, who are both psychologists, about this when I first picked up the Rappling babies, because I felt this really maternal bond to them that I didn't experience with my other older fosters. But again, I picked them up at 4 days old, and they needed me for everything, for bottle feedings, for going to the bathroom, for staying warm. And my dad pointed out that this is true for anyone who fosters or cares for any neonate, that it really doesn't matter that the species, whether it's a human baby, a cat, a dog, a possum, a bird, if any creature relies on you solely for survival, your instinct to care for it and protect it will kick in, and it's a strong bond. And I can tell you, I have felt that need to be with them and protect them from the time that I picked them up. And I think that feeling of needing to protect them, it's made the grief more intense, because even though we don't know really what happened to Boston, we think it was fading kitten syndrome. He could have had an underlying heart condition that we didn't know about. He could have been born with something we didn't know about. The not knowing why he was perfect and then he was gone is really hard, but also feeling like I failed him in some way. I couldn't protect him from whatever happened to him. Sorry, it's all still really fresh, I know there's nothing I could have probably done to save him, but the loops that run through my head every day of, what if I had got this, and what if I had seen that, what if I had not gone on this trip, which was not an option. I mean, I had contractual work to do in Los Angeles, and then I was going to the Cheer Choice Awards, but I still, of course, have the thoughts of what if I hadn't left. That was actually the first time I had left them since I picked them up at 4 days old, and I had been feeling very anxious about leaving them, not because of the people I was leaving them with. I trust my pet sitters with my life, and they did absolutely everything right, and they've been around the Rappling babies since they were 4 days old too, and they loved them, and they were very devastated when Boston passed. But I just didn't they're my babies. Like I said, I've experienced the grief of losing a neonate before, and that's intense. But the difference with Timmy and the Rapplings is that Timmy was a single kitten. So when he passed, I wasn't caring for any other kittens. Whereas with these guys, and really not having an explanation for what happened, the grief of losing Boston plus the anxiety of, oh my God, what if it happens again? What if it happens to one of the others, to Baguette or to Willow? And that grief plus anxiety is overwhelming. They're fine. I mean, clearly they're fine. But then again, it was like, I thought Boston was fine too. Took a moment to compose myself, but that grief plus the anxiety, I've not really wanted to leave them or really leave the house. I pretty much just hang out with them or watch them through the kitty cam all the time, which I was not sure was a healthy coping mechanism. And man, I tell you what, having two therapists for parents really comes in handy sometimes, because I asked them, you know, is this a normal response? And they assured me that it was, and that as time progresses, of course, missing him will not go away, but the anxiety around it will dissipate as time goes on. In the meantime, I've tried to occupy my mind with other things other than the anxiety and grief. Some things that I could do at home, like my birthday was last Sunday and I turned 26. So I treated myself to buying health insurance and a lawnmower and a weed eater and a yard cart. And I've been doing yard work, which has been helpful to actually get outside of my house without having to like leave them and like go somewhere. Like I usually play pickleball a few times a week, but I don't want to like drive that far away from them yet. So being outside and doing like some actual like physical work has been helpful to get some of that like anxious energy out. And I'm not much of a TV watcher. I'm more of a podcast listener, or if anything, I'm like a docuseries watcher. But on the days where I'm too physically exhausted, that's something that I was surprised by, is just how physically exhausting the grief is. But anyway, the days where I was too like physically tired to get out in the yard, I binge watched Manifest. That show is, oh my goodness. Y'all tell Willow's a shoulder girl. I almost named her Birdie. I should have. That show is so engaging, and it was such a welcome distraction from my own grief and anxiety, and for that I am very, very, very thankful. One of the many reasons why art and entertainment is so important. And on the note of being thankful, I'm also so thankful for my community here on TikTok that has been so supportive and has been supportive of me taking a little time off to rest and recuperate from the last couple of weeks. Not only that, but y'all seriously have blown me away with what y'all donated to my little PTO fund. It just never ceases to amaze me that there are so many people out there who are so kind and so generous, and that I am fortunate enough to have such kind and generous people here in a community on TikTok. Not having to worry about working on brand deals during this time has lightened my load. So I just want to say, truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for being patient with this lack of, videos over the last couple of weeks. But that being said, I'm hoping to be back posting regular videos soon. I mean, just look at how big these guys have gotten. Sir. Sometimes the brain brains and other times it doesn't, does it, buddy?